Oh no, it's the Rona.
We're over Zoom. You're fine.
Do you think?
It's mutated that much, has it?
Yeah,
Yes.
computer virus is very serious.
Welcome back to Crackerjack Movie Chat. I am once again your host, Peter J. McCluskey, and with me again is Danica Raven.
Hello there.
And of course, Mr. Robert Tombe.
Shalom.
Yeah, that's totally not cultural appropriation or anything. So last week we, of course, discussed what we were looking forward to from films in 2021. And a lot of you may have noticed there was a complete omission of anything Marvel related in that list. But I think this actually worked out quite well, because what we're going to do today is we are going to devote the first half of today's show to everything we think Marvel Studios will be putting out in 2021. Of course, there are delays. COVID is still happening. And Robert, as you mentioned last week, No Time to Die has indeed been delayed to October. So
Yep,
we have no
great.
idea. So we have no idea what's going to happen with everything Marvel's putting out this year. The Disney Plus stuff should be fine, but we don't know what's happening with the films. So, of course, this is all spurred on by the fact that WandaVision has just started on Disney Plus, and by the time we're expecting to release this episode, you will probably have seen episodes 4 and 5, but today we're just going to concentrate on what's already happened in episodes 1 through 3. So, first of all, what are you guys feeling in general about WandaVision? Danica, why don't you kick us off?
I'm 100% there for it. Like, as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, I do not know what this is. But, you know, you could see it was going to be quirky and charming. And there's a lot of different sort of TV era elements in there. So especially from the trailer, you can see the kind of 60s movies. And as somebody who loves the original Addams Family, Munsters, and shows like that, I'm totally there for it. And I really look forward to seeing what they do with it, because it gives absolutely nothing to how they're in there, why they're in there, and it should be something really different, which is what I'm looking forward to. But I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm pretty much where you are on this. I have to say this, like, I'm not trying to be weird or anything about this, but the 18-month gap between this and Spider-Man Far From Home is kind of the best thing that could happen for Marvel at this point.
Mhm.
Because with Endgame just blowing away, being this perfect wrap up to everything they'd done before and just blowing away expectations, you kind of need to reset your level at that point. And for me, like, just last week when we're recording this, just being able to sit down and watch WandaVision, I just had this feeling of I'm totally ready to go back into Marvel at this point. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, I'm not sure how, I suppose, people younger than us would react to WandaVision, like, because we've obviously grown up on repeats of the sitcoms it's referencing, really. So when I go into WandaVision, a lot of like the in-jokes and the very vibe that they're doing in each of the episodes just gives me a nice feeling of, I remember that kind of show, like Bewitched.
Yeah, all the reruns of like Bewitched, and even things like original Sabrina the Teenage Witch had an element of those kind of quirky but kind of positive like overtones. Which, as you said, it's good. Nothing like Endgame that ended in such like a epic but bleak way. So it's nice to have something that's generally chill to watch, you know. But then again, it
Definitely.
might get far more complicated as we go along.
Definitely. I mean, I'm trying to hold my tongue here because, like, having read a lot of Scarlet Witch comics in the past, well, Avengers comics that focused on Scarlet Witch, I feel like I have a good grasp on at least elements of what's going to happen. So As I say, we'll try not to go into spoilers, but I have my ideas. And yeah, I just feel like Vision and Scarlet Witch are characters who, in the MCU, like Civil War and Infinity War, we've had these nice moments with them, but there's always been a kind of like yearning to have more of a moment with them. And I just feel like it's paid off immediately. Like, it's not a slow settling into, oh, well, I'm not sure. I like these characters in bits, but I'm not sure if I can follow them. Like, immediately, I feel like they've just taken over the show and you can follow them for the 9 episodes.
I'm at the massive disadvantage that I haven't actually watched it. And it's more of the sense that I don't think it interests me. And I don't know why that is, because to your earlier point, I'm actually quite impressed from the trailers, and I have watched maybe a bit of the first episode, but I did like how they copied or maybe put like a homage to like Bewitched. I did see that clip. It was very, I think that's quite good how it's all black and white and how it changes when it goes into colour. But I'm not interested in the two characters. I don't know if that's Marvel having not really given them much time in the other films. So they're just not two characters. I think if you said to me, oh, it was Captain America and Black Widow, I might be all in it. I feel like they've had more time. But just something about these characters just doesn't interest me. And that's the thing. I know Vision is actually quite a good, powerful character in Marvel. I just don't think the MCU has treated him like a powerful character. So to see him lead something, I've just not got the interest in it. I might be totally wrong. It probably is brilliant. It's just I'm just not in that gang.
Come into the Marvel universe quite late on compared to a lot of the other characters that you would root for. And as you say, he's generally been part of the ensemble rather than having like his own driving kind of force, like his own kind of main story arcs don't really exist for him. Where it's almost like this is his chance to have that. But I can see why that might mean that you might prioritize other shows over this one.
Yeah, I think it's quite I would say it's quite a worrying time. It's not a worrying time for Marvel, but maybe an unknown time, because I feel like with spoiler, if you haven't seen Endgame, question is why haven't you? Seriously, like Captain America's out, Chris Evans is away, Robert Downey Jr. is out, and let's be honest, I think Hemsworth from the upcoming film, it's not really about him. Is it
Yeah, that's
for?
what I've heard.
I can't remember, for Love and Thunder. It's like he's away now, and for me, they're your 3 staples. They're your 3 men, your main. Well, and not even just men, but what's her name again? Scarlett Johansson. She's got one more film, and she's away. Black Widow was popular. I know that's mostly all based on TV shows now. I think they're trying to stream to Disney, but the worrying thing is Marvel has had such a dominant, brand on things. But this is the first time I feel like they could lose it, especially the resurgence of Star Wars. I think The Mandalorian seems to have took everyone. Now everyone's at war into all these Star Wars, so it's interesting to see where Marvel go with their future things, and they're going to have hit and misses. This could be a hit. We'll see.
Certainly experimental, but I think also because, as you say, with it being Disney owning Star Wars and owning Marvel, they can afford to have the odd program that doesn't work out and just bin it. Whereas the movies, there was no way that they could afford to let any of them, be anything other than 100% crowd pleasing. So some of this, I think, will become kind of cult classic type stuff rather than big hard hitting stuff. But then again, we might be surprised. I mean, I was surprised when we had the cartoon Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. I expected to hate that because it was so different, and I didn't. I loved it.
Oh, that's great.
It might be the same with a few of the Marvel things for 2021.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things I would say in hope for what Marvel are doing is, first of all, let's think back to where we were before Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man came out. Like, comic fans were excited for Ant-Man in particular, but I feel like a lot of the general public were kind of looking at it kind of side-eyed going, what are these things they're doing? They're doing a film about a raccoon in a tree? What's that?
Yes, I was one of those people going, what is this supposed to be?
Yeah, so basically
Totally proved wrong.
Yeah, exactly. From that point of view, we know that Marvel can pull off something that may look from completely every other angle like it's going to fail. And secondly, we know that Kevin Feige, who's in charge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is heavily as involved with these TV shows as he is with the films. So we have a good reason to think there's going to be as much attention to detail with these as there is with anything that's been in the main Marvel Cinematic Universe recently.
Yeah, because I think TV is something that I wouldn't say they've got a grasp on TV shows. I think that's been DC's. I think they've had the dominant, because I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., me personally, I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. never really gripped me. If you compare it to like Arrow and Supergirl to an extent, was okay. Flash, they were all, I think they were all the better shows. And then they had another show, Marvel. I feel it was Agent
Carter.
Agent Carter, yeah, that was it.
That was a bit better.
Yeah, I never really watched it. I didn't think she deserved to win, but whatever. They tried, and I don't think they'll teach. So they might find as you say, with Kevin Feige. I keep calling him Kevin Feige for some random reason. With him more involved, I think this might be their streaming grabbing now. They might hold an arc on the streaming. It'd be interesting to see where they go, especially the big mix-up.
Yeah, and that's really the different direction I'm talking about, is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. specifically, Kevin Feige very early on was not involved in that show. Like it was always set in the MCU, but like obviously it ended up being in different departments at Disney.
Yep.
And basically just different heads controlling everything. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to catch up with where the films were, but it was never in main discussion of where's this universe going? How do we wrap Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into this?
Yeah.
So I feel like Kevin Feige being involved in these new shows is a direct result of that, and gives me hope, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my thing is they need the Disney Plus service shows do need to be better than the Netflix ones, because I still is it Daredevil? Who I thought Daredevil was good, but I actually quite enjoyed that as a TV show. Punisher I thought was the best. I never got quite round to Jessica Jones.
I loved the first season of Jessica Jones, but the later seasons just didn't live up, I thought.
No, and then
I felt the balance was quite right. I did watch all season 1, and certainly, especially David Tennant's character was flawless, but I wish they'd done a bit more of her doing actual detective work, because I expected it to be more like the baddie reoccurring now and again, but that there being a new big thing for each episode, and that isn't how it panned out. That doesn't mean it was bad, it just means it wasn't what I was looking for at the time.
I think the Netflix shows are the perfect example of hit and miss. I think that was the general, I think everyone kind of did like Luke Cage. I think everyone liked that. I think Iron Fist was a bit of a miss. I think that had a lot of controversial.
I don't think I've heard anybody talk about Iron Fist.
No, I think that seemed
to say they watched an episode and gave up.
Yeah.
What I would say about Iron Fist was, I know that, everyone seemed to hate it, but for me it was completely watchable, but never above watchable.
Yes, you know nothing special, but good to have on.
Yeah, basically. And when, at that point, the Netflix shows, everything that had been shown to that point was of, higher caliber than that, so that's probably where the disappointment lay with Iron Fist, I would say.
Yeah, I'm just here to paint a bad image for Marvel. They're going to fail. It's going to collapse.
Well, we'll look at some more things on the list and see if that's the case.
Yes, so basically, the intention we have right now is we've talked about what we think about WandaVision now that it's just started, but the intention is once the series is wrapped up, we will come back and do a full series overview of what we thought and how we reacted to how it ended, etc. And in that episode, we will also spotlight Elizabeth Olsen. Danica and I both seem to be enjoying it. Robert, we'll see if you've seen it in about 6 weeks or so.
I'll have one big massive watch of it all. I'll try.
Yeah, do it that way. Once the series is all finished, so you can just binge through it.
Yeah. If not, I'll just Google. I'll just Google reviews and get the general mix.
Yeah,
You'll-
nothing wrong with that. If you can look up what some other reviews and stuff are, you can always discuss that a wee bit. If you can't get into it in the first couple episodes.
See, I'm just picturing you just picking up on something mentioned somewhere and going, I have to tell you, I reacted horribly when this thing happened.
I mean, I think you two can come with your proper in-depth, having watched it, and I'll just go with the general gist of it on it. If the net tells me it's rubbish, then it's rubbish, and I'll go with it. And I'll even come with people's quotes. Kevin
I
from
think
Pittsburgh
you'll
said
be
it's rubbish.
pleasantly surprised, but I'm also kind of hoping you hate all of it, so you and I can just argue about it.
Yeah, we've got to have some arguments.
Oh, aye.
Someone's got to be the devil's advocate. Or devil's whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right.
Yeah. The devil's jester.
That be you, Robert.
So, looking at the list of everything Marvel are doing this year, it's grown exponentially. Like in 2019, we were on 3 films a year, and now we're on 4 films plus several seasons on Disney Plus. So it basically looks like it's going to be Marvel around the year from this point forward. And as if to prove that, there's only a 1-week break after the WandaVision finale before Falcon and Winter Soldier starts.
Yes.
So yeah, this is obviously going to pick up on the legacy of Captain America with spoilers again, but you should have watched it.
Yes.
Obviously, at the end of Endgame, Steve Rogers passes off the shield to Sam Wilson, the Falcon, and this series is obviously going to pick up on struggles between Winter Soldier and Falcon and the government, who aren't happy about Steve Rogers choosing his own successor. So I guess for people who think that WandaVision is too experimental, this could reset them into a more traditional action-oriented series. But to be honest, other than having Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan back, and just in general some things they're bringing in from the comics, I'm not as excited about this one as I am about WandaVision. Like, it looks like a little bit more generic from the trailers. They're not really hooking me yet. But as I say, I'm a Marvel fan. I will watch it. But what are you guys thinking?
I think that, as you said, it'll be the pure opposite to WandaVision. So for some people, it'll be good because it's what they want from something Marvel. For me, agreed, less excited, but I think it's going to entirely depend on how good the chemistry is amongst your main characters. And I'm sure there's some more main characters we've not really seen yet, but especially between our 2 protagonists, the Winter Soldier and Falcon, we need there to be enough of a kind of playful, fun kind of guys going and completing some missions and stuff. But it's going to be completely generic if that relationship just isn't there. If that chemistry just between the actors isn't there.
Yeah.
It could take the slightest thing to make it go from being just watchable, you know.
I think my thought on it is, to me, when you say the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you always just go, yeah, they're just sidekicks of Captain America. So to have them now have to be a partnership and lead is quite unusual. I mean, I'm on the bracket that it should have been Winter Soldier should have been the new Captain America. I'm on that mantle. I'm there. It should have been him. But I mean, I'm always quite interested to see how this will work out, because for me, when the two of them were introduced, yes, Falcon had quite a sad backstory, but he was always the more light-hearted one. It's not all bad. He was the more comedy one, whereas Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier had a very dark past, and he seemed more serious, not very jokey. So I'm quite interested how that works out. It might be like a kind of buddy cop thing. One's the kind of serious straight man, if you would, and the other one's the joking one. So that's how it may work out. But yeah, it doesn't. I want it to grip me, but I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't grip me. I don't know why.
That's a good point, though. The whole buddy cop thing has worked for so many other programs, and as you say, I mean, when I thought that the Winter Soldier would get the mantle and then didn't, I was a little put out. But the fact that they're working together on this might save it.
Yeah, I think if it becomes so predictable that it just becomes a series of Anthony Mackie struggling to become the Cap, and Sebastian Stan's there to help him along like he did with Steve Rogers, then it would just become very predictable. And it would just be like, oh, okay. I hope not, but I think it will. I think it will. And I like the Winter Soldier. Falcon I'm not so interested in. He can fly and shoot a couple of guns.
If I can just go to predictions right now, like I don't know if you guys have heard the rumors that Chris Evans may be coming back for something in the Marvel Universe. Like, if they're bringing him back as an alternate universe, evil version of Captain America, I was one of the people when they introduced the idea of Hydra Cap in the comics, that Cap had always been Hydra for the entire run of Marvel Comics. I was just so angry and felt that was so irresponsible and just trying to grab people with a gimmick. But if they do that obviously we know from what Marvel are doing right now in the movies, TV shows, they're going multiverse pretty soon. So if they bring in evil Cap from an alternate universe, that could possibly be an interesting foe for Anthony Mackie's Falcon Cap to fight. But that's the one thing I'm kind of like, that'd be possibly interesting.
It's really easy though will it be interesting or will it be overkill? And it could go either way, and it really is just depending on how it's done.
Yeah.
And also when they do it as well, like if you do it too soon after Chris Evans has left the proper Cap role, it just be meaningless.
And I think, how many times have they destroyed Hydra? Like, come on. I mean,
and how many alternative universes have we got going on now as well?
I think, no. I mean, I think when you're saying the Captain America Hydra thing, when was that? Was that 2017 that was published?
It would have been around about then,
yeah. I feel like that was like their answer to Superman's Red Sun, which I think was 2003, 4. I feel like that was a while ago, long ago. Maybe wrong, but it did feel like that was the comic version anyway. I know the film wasn't, so the animation, but yeah, I never understood that storyline as well. I just think it was always bad. What happens if it was bad? It's just like, oh well, boo-hoo. I just didn't get it.
See, for me, Red Sun kind of makes sense to me because that makes sense. That's very definitively an alternate version of Superman, and also it's just an interesting concept. Maybe like the most interesting concept for an alternate Superman. What if this guy had landed in the Soviet Union instead of America? But when you say that Steve Rogers, this character we've been following for 75 years at this point, has never been who you thought he was. Like, it's the problem I have. Like, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, but I can't stand modern Doctor Who because they keep having to twist the mythology in a way that is coming really close to destroying everything I've invested in already. It's like, if you're going to twist on something, it should be a development of character, not just a gimmick.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, Superman seems to be becomes who he is because of where he's raised. You know, he becomes the person of what's around him. But yeah, Captain America, no matter where he is, he always would have been a good person. You know, he was small, skinny, standing up for himself. So, and try to do the greater good. So just to turn around and say, oh no, by the way, he's actually a Hydra agent. Where did that come from? It doesn't make sense.
Especially when Bucky is already practically what the opposite would have been. Coming from the same small town, the same team, and being twisted and brainwashed. It's like we already kind of had that, so doing it again another way might not work, unless they can find a way to make it more Bucky based, where Bucky's got to kind of figure it out.
Plus, I think for the actors themselves, for Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, the two of them are good enough to have their own show. You know, Anthony Mackie has been in recently quite a lot of things that are very good, and Sebastian Stan's always had good work. To put Chris Evans in would tell the audience that, are they confident that they can even hold their own show? I think that takes it away from them, because then you go, oh, it's Chris Evans again. Then that's it. It's away from them and it's about Chris Evans again. And I think they need to be very careful with that. Allow them to grow and to see if they can do it. Because Anthony Mackie has been in a lot of good stuff. He can hold his own. He can. But Yeah, I want it. Hopefully when it comes out about it, I will be in it. I'll be there for it. But right now, yeah, I'm not there.
Yeah, I think what you've said is the same reason why they very definitively had to find a way to write Tony Stark out of the MCU. Like,
Yep.
Downey has almost left 2 or 3 times previous to Endgame. So if they hadn't have like definitively written him out of Endgame, it would have felt like you can never get out of Tony Stark's shadow at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a criticism of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, it seems to be. It's never his films. It's always somebody's got to come and help him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Tobey Maguire kind of guy, so come on, Tobey.
So next up is a film that should have come out last year, and I think a film that a lot of people think should have been out close to a decade ago. It's the Black Widow film is finally coming out, unless it's delayed again. So it seems like this is probably Scarlett Johansson's last time playing the character, and it feels like, I don't know, they have Florence Pugh in there playing another version of Black Widow, which I'm like suspecting, I know there's rumors about this, I'm pretty confident that character is going to be the Black Widow in the Avengers going forwards, and I'm happy enough with that. Like 2019, Florence Pugh had like a great year, like not free brilliant films, I would say, but two brilliant films and 3 brilliant performances. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do in the MCU, and obviously it makes total sense, and I'm totally behind Scarlett Johansson getting a solo film before she's done with Marvel. So what are you guys thinking about the Black Widow film?
I'm going to come in here, controversial point. I don't see the point. I don't think, I mean, as much as I'd say Black Widow was an ensemble member, I don't see the need to give Scarlett Johansson her own film. And I think, I could be wrong, I do think it'll be a good film, don't get me wrong. Watching the trailer, I'm in it. It does look good. I think she's pushed on this to give the whole, well, where's the female lead film? I think, because, you know, in Endgame, it was very well known that it was Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye that was supposed to die. It was well known it was him. But Scarlett Johansson and a lot of other female lead in the cast, and the female cast members would say, no, it's got to be her that's got to die. It would make more sense. I don't think it did. I think Renner should have died. I think the whole Endgame film built it. I am on the belief that I think if Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow should have got a film, that should have been a while ago. And if she was to get a film, it should have been about her and Hawkeye doing an adventure.
So the next thing on the list is the first season of Loki on Disney Plus. And obviously, I think we were all kind of suspecting something was about to happen with what happened with Loki in Endgame. And I've got to say, I'm a bit skeptical about this one. Like, again, Tom Hiddleston as Loki is brilliant as part of an ensemble and as the villain, but I don't know how it's going to work if he's the focus the entire time.
Definitely.
I think it'll work, but mostly because I'm a big Tom Hiddleston fan and I've seen him in a lot of other things, including a Shakespeare play. So I know he can carry himself.
Yeah. I mean, my hope for it, and I'm on the same, I'm interested to see what they can do. I don't know what they can do, but if that makes sense. I mean, my only good point is it's not the Loki that we lost in, spoiler, really, if you haven't seen this, I'll slap you, Infinity War. Because I think it's well known between the three of us that we didn't really enjoy the way Ragnarok had took the characters.
Yes.
I always preferred Loki from the first Avengers. I felt like
Did you?
Oh yeah, that was my favourite Loki.
Definitely, yeah.
That Loki version was much better. They ruined him as they went on. He was more Shakespeareanly evil. He was smart, sophisticated. So I'm quite happy that it's that Loki. But again, I don't know where they go with it.
And also,
so I'm interested to see that Loki. But again, I'm no interested in where it goes.
And also, I'll say I'm happy that it's this alternate reality, alternate timeline version of Loki, because when Infinity War came out, one of my reactions was, okay, with Loki dead here, he can't just be alive again at that point, because that would with Loki having apparently died so many times in the MCU up to that point, that would take so much power away from Thanos to have him just be alive after he killed Loki. So I'm happy it's this alternate version, as I say.
Mm-hmm. I was really excited when they first mentioned it, then slowly lost interest and completely forgot it was coming. So when I saw the trailer, I was really happy, but mostly because I was surprised to see Owen Wilson, especially with his haircut in that. That could be interesting to see him play a character that's a bit different from stuff I've seen him in. But also because it looks like they have developed an entire organization that isn't Hydra and isn't Shield, it's something else. And depending on how well they've set that up, that could be quite promising to be quite immersive. And it looks like it's quite busy. It looks like there's going to be a lot going on in it. So I think potentially it could be a lot more fun than some of the other stuff they're coming out with.
And also, yeah, Owen Wilson. I don't think I realised until it was pointed out. Where's Owen Wilson been? Like, someone pointed that out. It's like, I can't. Oh, Owen Wilson's back in Loki. We haven't seen him in years. And I was like, I don't think I have seen him in years. So that's interesting, at least. Basically, everything else that's coming out for the rest of the year, we don't have much footage of aside from What If. So, and I know you guys just have less knowledge in general about the rest, so I'll just go through those essentially, just briefly. So, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's interesting the way they're tackling this movie actually, because they're not, the way they promoted it when they first announced it at Comic-Con, they're not really focusing on Shang-Chi particularly. They're focusing more on the Ten Rings, which kind of shows, obviously we know they're bringing back, well, not bringing back, they're introducing a more true to comics version of the Mandarin in this film. And I feel like it's telling that they led with that at Comic-Con. Like, oh, we really want to reassure fans. If you were annoyed that with what we did with the Mandarin and Iron Man 3, we're fixing it. Don't worry, we're fixing it. But yeah, like that actually didn't annoy me as much as most people. Like, I thought it was an interesting take, but yeah, Shang-Chi, I'm interested to see the martial arts Avenger, basically. The director is known, I know, mostly for indie dramas, so that could be an interesting take, I think, for this character. And of course, next we have What If, the animated series. So this is really interesting to me because I feel like this is something that every comic book fan or just every genre sci-fi geek just discusses. Oh, what if this happened to that character or whatever? So the fact that Marvel are going to be investing in something like this and getting a lot of the big cast members back to do the voices in this series, it just shows like phases 1 through 3, they were right. If they were focused on building towards Endgame and delivering this satisfying story, it's encouraging to know that now that they've succeeded with that, they're determined to just do whatever they want and just run with ideas at this point. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so is that going to be like what if Hulk wasn't such a whiny bitch and stopped being so annoying? Is that what it is? What if Mark Ruffalo didn't have to become Hulk and we kept Edward Norton?
Basically, yeah. Like, I know that the first episode is what if Peggy Carter had taken the super soldier serum and become Captain Britain instead of Steve Rogers becoming Captain America.
That's quite controversial, isn't it?
I'm interested. I'm interested, Robert.
I suppose it's like a Spider-Verse, but even bigger because you've got all these alternatives for like throughout the entire Marvel universe. And it sounds like it could be fun. And again, I think though it'll take proper Marvel fans to appreciate it. Probably, I'd reckon.
Yeah. It's the ultimate geek thing, innit? We all love to do that. What if? How would that have happened? And what happens if he was based here? That'd be great. I'm quite interested in that, actually.
Yeah, and as we say, like, Marvel are so world dominating at this point that they can afford to do something like this that's only really going to cater to the most hardcore fans.
Hail Marvel.
Right. tell me about Eternals, because that rings a bell, but I can't say that I can place what it was.
Yeah, this is actually the one I'm least knowledgeable about. Like, I know a little bit about Eternals just from like crossovers, etc. But to be honest, I've never picked up an Eternals comic. Like, I know like they're basically space people. Like, to put it down to the lowest common denominator, they're space people. It's kind of like Inhumans, but not as intrinsic. What?
It's rubbish.
Yeah. We're not, that doesn't exist. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like Inhumans, but it's more about these people coming to Earth rather than what happened between the Inhumans, between the Kree, and what they did to humanity. So, but this it has an amazing cast. This film, like Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Kit Harington, Robert's making faces.
Well, Robert, are you loving the sound of this less and less every sentence?
Yeah, I mean, Angelina Jolie was popular for me about 15 years ago. Kit Harington was never popular, and Richard Madden I like. So yeah, you've got me there.
Well, you don't watch Game of Thrones, right? We can be open about that. You don't watch that show.
No, you can be open as much as I hated Game of Thrones. Overrated rubbish.
Then we'll definitely have to do an episode on that.
Yes.
So after this, there's also another Disney Plus series, which is Ms. Marvel, which I have to say, Kamala Khan is a character. My comic knowledge is only really up to Fear Itself, which was a big crossover that happened in around about 2012, and I'm pretty sure the Kamala Khan version of Ms. Marvel, which we're getting in the MCU, debuted in around about 2013. So I didn't really know much about this character until the Avengers game came out. But basically, playing that game, I've actually become quite a fan of the character. She's basically this young Muslim girl who is a big fan of the Avengers and writes Avengers fan fiction, and a big fan of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and eventually gets her own superpowers and becomes one of the Avengers. So I feel like this is going to be a really interesting, different take on an origin for an Avenger. Mm-hmm. So, like, as I say, there's not any footage yet, and apparently the actress hasn't really done much before. This is pretty much her first thing, but I feel like this one's got me intrigued at least.
See, the Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel thing has always confused me. Are they not the same character?
Yeah, so basically there was Captain Marvel, who is the Kree hero, who's the original Captain Marvel. Yep. Then he died of cancer, which was a big thing. That was a big thing that comics would actually tackle a character death being from something like cancer back in the day. Yeah. But then there was Carol Danvers, who was the original Ms. Marvel and is now Captain Marvel, who we have in the films.
Yeah.
And then obviously in 2013, this character, Kamala Khan, took up the Ms. Marvel role now that Carol was Captain Marvel.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. As far as I was concerned, Captain Marvel to me is Shazam. That's my Captain Marvel. Just sticking that in there. So I was confused with these two characters.
Well, DC have backed down at this point and just called him Shazam at this point. So
yeah, but Robert hasn't. But I was always interested with the character because I'd seen her from the game as well, and yeah, she's got like elastic powers and something like that. I didn't play the game; I just seen the trailer, and my friend has it. I'd be quite interested to see that. Yeah, it's a different take, especially on the whole kind of, there's a big talk about a diversity front, and I think that'd be quite a good way to go with it. You've almost created like a new character with an old character's alias. It'd be quite interesting to see that.
If we could get another starting point, considering for me when Endgame was out, I was like, okay, this is me. I'm going to stop with the Marvel now.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be a total lie. I lied to myself. But for other people that are just starting to get into it properly now, it'll be a nice way to get a new type of fan in.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing is I prefer them to create new characters instead of changing already known characters' thing for it all. I'm quite interested. I think that'd be quite good. I was like a new character being created for something instead of them changing a very popular character. Yeah.
Yeah. Danica, you mentioned a new starting point. I feel like it'd be good for them to get back to that, because I feel like around about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe around about Civil War kind of time, Marvel kind of took a tact of, okay, we've given you enough chances to jump into this universe. Now we're just going full throttle towards Infinity War, and you're either on board or you're not. So
Yep.
now that that's all subsided, be good to say, hey, here's something you can just join in and watch it if you just want a show, or it can lead you further back into this universe.
Yeah, 100%.
So, folks, I expect a lot of people are thinking we'll be talking about the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie now. But if you haven't noticed, we've been talking for a while at this point, and we still have to spotlight an actor in the second half of our show. So we've decided, in between conversations, we're going to delay talking about the third Spider-Man film until a later episode when we can go more in depth on all the rumors and talk about Charlie Cox possibly coming back as Daredevil. So we will talk about that at a later date, but I'm excited about that one. Trepidatious, but excited. So with all that being said about Marvel, now is the time for us to again spotlight someone working in the film industry. And because WandaVision is on right now, we are of course going to spotlight Paul Bettany. As I've said, we will come back to Elizabeth Olsen when episode 9 is aired and we're reviewing the entire series. But right now, let's jump into our favorite films starring Paul Bettany and Danica. I think it's fair because last week Robert and I jumped on and stole everything before you could get to it. You jumped in very quickly and got, I think, which is the grand favorite today. So what is your pick for your favorite Paul Bettany film or performance?
My best that I've gone for has to be Knight's Tale. That's the movie from 2001, and very much a family film. So we all grew up watching this movie over and over and over. Fantastic movie overall. Fantastic premise. Great fun. Doesn't take itself too seriously. But the glue holding it all together is Paul Bettany. I mean, he enters into the movie butt naked, just walking down a road and bumps into the main characters. He's equal parts helpful and problematic. He is down on his luck with his gambling addiction, but at the same time is very thespian, very poetic, and ends up heavily involved in everything that's going on in the story. So they wouldn't be able to get into it if you haven't seen it for whatever reason. You've got Heath Ledger trying to get into a jousting competition, but he's a peasant, he's not a nobleman, he's got to fake his way in. So in order to fake his way in, Paul Bettany is the man, forges some fake documents for them, talks a whole load of waffle at the registrars and saying that he's a mighty knight from a long family of knights and royals, gets him in, and then once he starts chatting up the lady of the story, Jocelyn, Paul Bettany's the one that's got his back and helps him write some love letters and tries to woo him that, so helps him be a bit of a lover and a fighter. What else have I written about it? His speeches are hilariously bad, apart from the one good speech where he really finally sees that nobody wants to hear him waffle. He just wants to rally up the crew for the fighting. And his character's name is Geoffrey Chaucer. And I think we can all agree that that is, for a lot of people, the first time you see Paul Bettany, probably. For me, it's the first memorable role I ever saw.
Maybe for our generation, the first time we've heard of Geoffrey Chaucer, for all that matter. Of course, Chaucer, of course, being the real historical figure who wrote the Canterbury Tales, which is alluded to many times in this brilliant film.
Yes. What are your guys' thoughts on the movie? Have you both? I take it you've both seen it as well.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because it just, Heath Ledger's films have always been weird, but again, Paul Bettany was in it, so I did like it for that. And I'm sure the cast is actually very good as well. I can't remember who plays. Is it the King or the Prince? But I know that himself is quite a big actor. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole tale of a commoner, doing anything for love. was quite good. And yeah, Paul Bettany's hilarious in it. I mean, come on, how can you not love him in it? He's just that classic drunk above his station stuff all the time. It's great. I love it. Paul Bettany just takes it right out.
He really does.
Yeah, this movie is medieval Rocky in all the best senses. Like,
Yeah.
it has the cheesy sports movie stuff going on, but it also has a lot of the heart that Rocky has, I think. Like, yeah, I love this movie. Would have picked it if Danica hadn't, obviously. And yeah, brilliant sporting cast, as you say. Alan Tudyk, Mark Addy from Game of Thrones again. And yeah, it's just, I feel like this is one of those movies where you look back and you see Heath Ledger in this movie, and it makes me happy that he at least got to The Dark Knight and got that worldwide recognition, but it also makes me kind of sad seeing how great Heath Ledger is in that movie, and just seeing how we should have had so much more from this guy. And also Paul Bettany, just no matter how long he plays Vision, he'll always be Geoffrey Chaucer to me. So my pick for Paul Bettany is going to take a lot of explanation. Over the period of COVID and lockdown, it's been quite an opportunity to go back and watch a lot of older movies that I feel like we wouldn't have got to if we were able to go to the cinema and just see new movies a lot. So over the last year, I've become a fan of the director Lars von Trier, who, controversial figure. Basically, Lars is someone either through his movies or what he says in public always seems to stir up controversy, whether it be the violence or any content in his films or making a joke about being a Nazi in public. So my pick is Lars von Trier's film Dogville. And this is a kind of a hard movie to explain. It's on the one hand, it's this crime drama. It's about this small town of only about 15 adults, I'd say, and a few children. It's set in the early 1900s. And basically the plot is Paul Bettany plays this character called Tom, who is disappointed that this town is just resting on its laurels and not moving anywhere. And all of a sudden, Nicole Kidman appears from out of the darkness after some gunshots have gone off. And the whole idea of the film is Nicole Kidman hiding in this small town, trying to integrate with them. And basically what happens is this town gradually shows itself to an outsider, which it hasn't for the full time. So the film is interestingly made. It's not conventionally made. It's entirely filmed on a soundstage with very little props. Like, for instance, you might have a doorway leading into a chalk outline to represent an entire house, or you might just have a chalk outline of a dog where a dog is supposed to be sitting on the floor. And this is part of Lars von Trier's method, really. Like, he established a set of rules in the 90s called the Dogma 95 rules, which were basically to limit artifice in films. And the idea was if you eliminated all of this, you'd get deeper down into characterization. And to be honest, in Dogville, it kind of annoyed me for the first 20 minutes, but then I realized that it really was dragging me in. And I feel like this is a film that just really took me as it went along. So it's probably the best Nicole Kidman performance I've ever seen. And Paul Bettany, I think, is just brilliant in the film, playing this character, Tom, who you want to believe in his naivety is going to do the right thing. But it's really an exercise in seeing whether a character will stick to their morals that they've been spouting the entire story when worst comes to worst, or if they'll show themselves to be something darker. And to be honest, I think this is why a lot of people have troubles with the film, because there is kind of an anti-American message throughout the film where Lars is kind of not so subtly sneaking in the message that, oh, all Americans are evil deep down and will show themselves when worst comes to worst. But yeah, I think it's definitely a film that it's not going to be for everyone, but I think it's definitely something that should be checked out at the very least, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm guessing that neither of you have ever heard of this film, right?
No.
I'd never heard of it, but it does sound interesting, and I think it sounds exactly like the kind of movies I went out of my way to find when I was an acting student. You know what I mean? Like ones that were very, very acting and performance based with very little faff and very little special effects. So it sounds like that could be quite interesting in the form of kind of an artistic kind of movie. Definitely an odd choice. So yeah, approve. Definitely done your research on that because I hadn't heard of that one.
No, well done. That's interesting. Plus, the way they've just the chalk outlines, that is very theatre based.
Very.
I never thought I'd see that in a film. I think I might have to look for that actually. I'm interested to give it a go. You know, to see what it's like.
Yeah, as I say, it's not going to be for everyone, but I definitely recommend check it out. And obviously, everything Lars von Trier makes comes with a slight asterisk of you might be scarred after you've seen this, but I think it's worth going through the experience. So, Robert, what's your pick for best Paul Bettany film?
Well, my Paul Bettany film is Legion. And Legion stars Paul Bettany as Michael, the Archangel, I think he was. Yep. It also stars Kevin Durant as Gabriel. I'm sure it's Dennis Quaid that's in it as well. And I absolutely love Legion. Legion for me is fantastic. It's very good. And it spawned a TV series as well, which the name has now just escaped me. But I will come back with that series name. I think the series was set 25 years after the events in the film. But the film is basically, there is a woman who has become pregnant with a child and she doesn't know who the father is. And it turns out that this child is actually the second coming. It's the new Jesus, so we should say. But at this time, God has become tired of man and he's hitting the reset button. And as far as he's concerned, he wants to clean it out and get rid of them. This is it. He just wants to delete his creations. It hasn't worked. And all the other angels are there for it. Gabriel is, yeah, you're correct. We will do what you say. But Paul Bettany's character, Michael, believes that man deserves a second chance and he doesn't want to give up man. So he goes against them and he comes down to earth and he cuts off his wings and he gets rid of his... The halo isn't, you know, the classic halo above the head. It's the halo. It's like a neck brace. But it's great, but it's not him losing faith. And basically, he just becomes it's a nice take on an angel because everyone thinks, oh, angels are so loving and they're so caring. But no, he's become very tactical, very cold. He becomes a almost like Rambo, except with superpowers. And thanks to Danica, because she just sent me the message that it was Dominion. That is the TV series. I knew it was something like that. I had Downfall in my head, but it's Dominion. Sadly, Paul Bettany is not in Dominion, but it is very good.
What a shame, though, eh?
Oh, what a shame. But basically, Paul Bettany's Michael becomes just like Rambo. He's armed to the teeth, and he has to go protect this woman who is carrying the baby. But as I was saying, he doesn't care about any other human. For him, it's I must protect this woman. And I'm still in the line if it's just all angels that are taking control of people and turn them into these monsters, or if it is the whole demon thing. But there is a very well-known face in it. His name escapes everyone, but he's everyone knows him as the Tall Man. But he's been in a lot of adverts. He's been in the Pan's Labyrinth. He was in Hellboy 2, and you'll know exactly as soon as you see him. He's just a big tall man with a big long face.
What, Doug Jones?
Doug Jones, I think that's it. Yep.
I love him.
He's the ice cream man in it, and yeah, they use his
Oh my god,
size.
so he is. I forgot about that. I love
They use
Doug.
his size to scariness because he just gets out the ice cream van and it's the big jaw. And that he's the perfect example of what's coming. It's not just zombies; it's monsters basically. So these people they're all held up in a diner trying to save this woman. And what's happening is God and these angels are using tricks. Someone gets captured and it's someone's husband, and they've crucified him and they go out to save him, but he's actually blows up with boils, and it's using their minds and their temptations to drag them out while Michael, Paul Bettany's character, is trying to protect them. And then basically what happens is Kevin Durant then comes down for this big fight, Gabriel, and then they two have discussions, and Michael doesn't want to give up on him as well. It's almost like a redemption for God and the angels, not just for humanity. Oh, it's so fantastic. I mean, I think many would say I don't think the film was well received, which was pretty rubbish because it's much like Priest for me. It is a great film and it does deserve another view and another chance, much like Humanity, as Paul Bettany would say. You know, I think the line that sticks in it so well to sum up Michael's character is Gabriel says to him, "How can you be so loved? You went against him." And he says, "Well, Gabriel, you have given him you done what he asked. I done what he needed." And it's just, do not give up on humanity. And yeah, the child is born, and that's the second coming. And it's Gabriel, with the spoiler alerts, Gabriel kills Michael, but he kills Michael's human form. Because as it looks like Gabriel's going to kill the baby and kill the hero, Paul Bettany comes back full regalia, big body armor, big armor, metal wings, the lot, and it shows that no, God's protecting these. He wants to save humanity again. Oh, it's great. I mean, such a great film. And yeah, it's another one of these films where Paul Bettany is really cold in it. But you don't hate him, you understand exactly why he's doing it. No, he's great. And it's a great change of an angel. Not to be so, everything so loving, they'll save every human. No, he will leave you behind to save this woman and her baby. I mean, I don't know if you have seen it, but it is great.
I adore it. I'm not religious, but obviously I watch a lot of horror. So I'm very familiar with the whole angels and demons theme. And a lot of the time it is the angels are these cold, calculating non-humans, So they very much stick to that really well. And it's the fact that Paul Bettany is very, very caring. I mean, he's there to save them, but it doesn't come across that way because he is so rigid and stiff, because he's not a human, doesn't feel like a human. And it's, as you say, it feels a lot like Priest.
Yep.
There's a lot of the visuals and things are very much like that, and it's also a very tense movie because they are trapped in that diner. I mean, I know that trope's been used in plenty of ways where you've got a bunch of people trapped within a space, whether that be a diner or a shopping mall. You've got The Mist, you've got plenty of other programs like that where everyone's kind of stuck. But for me, that was one of the most tense ones because the dead and the monsters outside are increasing and increasing, and the way that they're being tempted and lured out, as you say, feeding on each of the humans' insecurities is so well done, and so on quite a big scale. If you know what I mean, it's a complex movie, considering that it's extremely violent and I would say predominantly that it is a horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah, good pick. I haven't seen it, but it's definitely a type of film I like to watch, so it's something I'll need to check out late at night sometime, I think. As we mentioned last time, there are so many little action horror films, I suppose you'd call them, that just fall by the wayside because they settle in too much with what's going on at the time. But yeah, I'll check that out. It sounds fun.
I mean, Dennis Quaid's in it. Who doesn't love Dennis Quaid?
It's really got a very good cast.
It's just
especially for what it is.
Yeah, Tyrese Gibson as well, I think, is in it. So we've got a great scene as well where an old woman comes in to just have some steak. Before you know it, she's spitting things out, climbing up walls. Oh, it's fantastic.
I love demonic possession.
Yeah,
in movies. Well, in real life too, but in movies.
So with that, it's now time to move on to our worst Paul Bettany films or performances. So Robert, what have you got for us?
Well, originally I was going to go with Wimbledon, as I stated, but I watched it again and I thought I actually weirdly enjoyed it, so I've had to change tack, and I did find a film through research and watching, and I found the film Firewall, starring Harrison Ford and Paul Bettany. Where do I go with this film? I feel like it's just another Harrison Ford film. In fact, when I was watching it and then doing my research, I was quite excited to know that it was the fourth film in which a member of Harrison Ford's family had been kidnapped and that he had to work doing deeds for the villains to rescue them. It's not really a new film, so there seemed to be a very 10-year period where Harrison Ford had a lot of these films. And yeah, basically the background of it is Harrison Ford is like a security expert for a Seattle bank. He knows how it works. He knows the computing system, and he knows how the vault works. Basically, he just knows the ins and outs of how a bank runs, and what will trigger alarms. That's simple as, right? You get that. Paul Bettany is typical. He's the British bank robber who's got an evil gang. He's not a very nice man in it, and he'll kidnap Harrison Ford's family. And Harrison Ford has a race against time. That another quote with Harrison Ford, a race against time, to do these deeds and stop the bad man from killing his family to give him money. It's just, it's so boring. The plot is being done, and this is a problem. You're going to get this. You're going to get films where the plot has been done before. You get it in nearly every film, but every film you have to find your own way with it. But I just feel like it's so predictable. It's just, the race against time, or good versus evil. A good man must do evil deeds to save his family. It sadly, it's such a good cast as well, because you'd think with Harrison Ford, he is a good hero when he wants to be, but it's another film where he feels as if it was like the beginning of Harrison Ford being old and boring. Paul Bettany looks as if he should be a good villain. You look at Paul Bettany and you go, oh, I can see a villain there. He's got that blonde kind of hair. He just, not saying all blonde haired people are evil, but he has got a quite look about him. I don't know what it is about him. You could see him playing cold, calculated villains, but there has to be a point of why he's cold, calculated. I don't know. It's almost if I want to compare him to Hans Gruber in Die Hard. He's wanting to steal all the money, but there was something. At least Hans Gruber was a bit charismatic. Paul Bettany, I'm afraid to say, is just not very good. He's just pretty plain and boring. And I mean, is it a watchable film? Yeah, it's watchable, but it's not very good. It is very boring. It almost feels as if it should have just been a 40-minute episode, but for the TV, and they've managed to extend it into becoming a film. Just looking at my notes again, I've not really got anything else to add to it. It's just a very plain film.
Sounds like it's just very generic and very predictable, and just very much the cliches of the genre more than anything.
Yeah,
and although that can be done in different ways, and if it's got a spin on it, it's definitely worth a watch. But as you say, you've already seen that done so many times. If there's nothing additional to it,
I don't know if what killed it. Yeah, I don't know if the killer was Harrison Ford, because as I said, it was the fourth film in like a small time period where, someone's kidnapped Harrison Ford's family. Oh, he's going to stop them, and it's just I feel like Paul Bettany didn't have to be in it. It was one of those ones. They never gave Paul Bettany a lot to do. It was quite sad. It was just, you're English, yep, right, be English and be bad. I mean, just a
different director, it could have been much better. It's quite possible that it's just a bit of a lack of
inspiration,
vision.
Cast, but lack of vision,
vision. I mean, for a quick hint, Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 18%, and the audience score was only 37%. So it's not as if, and it's not very good reviews even from the audiences. It didn't make its budget. In fact, I think it was 20 million under its budget at the box office. It never cleared. And there was the best review when I was looking at reviews as well, someone had said there's a dog in the film, and it's true when you read the review and you think back about it. Someone, even the dog seems to be looking behind the camera to have a grab of its agent to go, tear up my contract, I want a new film. And it's so true, even the dog was bored, and that's never a good sign.
No, it's really not.
Even the dog, it was just, everything was so coincidental on what was happening. It was just, they've got him, but he's going to find a way out, and it's just get away from me. Sadly. So that's me. Not got a lot to say on it because I don't want to, because I like Paul Bettany and I don't want to hammer him, but I need to in this. Boo.
Absolute fair. That's a big thumbs down from Robert. Thank you very much.
So yeah, for me, it was kind of hard to find something that I'd say stuck out as worst for Paul Bettany, because the guy brings something to most movies, let's be honest. So this pick is more I'll accept it's more kind of an arbitrary, let's discuss this, let's get this out in the open. It's something that I saw years ago, but just didn't really leave an impression other than, that was kind of dull. The Da Vinci Code I'll pick. I mean, this is a movie where we've all discussed. Paul Bettany is actually pretty watchable, pretty above watchable in this film, but it's kind of one of those films that really got all its press from more what it was about and how the church reacted to it rather than anything it did right or wrong, I would say. Like, I look back on it and think, it was kind of confusing, it was kind of dull, don't want to watch it again. And yet, I kind of feel like with Ron Howard as a director, you kind of see a lot of films like that. Like, if Ron Howard has something that can really drive him, that he really has to say something, or he can really innovate, like Apollo 13 or Parenthood, he really takes it as far as he can. But most of his films, I'd say, he does kind of rest on his laurels, and I feel like Da Vinci Code is one of those. So, what do you guys think of Da Vinci Code? Because honestly, I don't really have much to say.
It's been a while since I've seen Da Vinci Code, and I think I've only seen it maybe once or twice. I think I did enjoy it, but that whole series of films was pretty weird. It was like a lot of people were talking about the Da Vinci Code, and then was the next one Angels and Demons?
Yes. And then there was the third one, which was
Inferno.
Yeah, but they just didn't seem to get the fanfare. Yeah, it was just, they're out now. Alright.
I saw all three, and I can say that Da Vinci Code was the best out of the three, and that's probably because of Paul Bettany, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's the main thing I remember, but it's similar to you two. It's been years since I've watched it. I just remember the scene where he's flogging himself and being like, what the fuck am I watching? Sorry, swear word. Being like, what am I watching?
Yeah, I mean, because he plays the monk that's right into it, isn't he? Like,
yes.
He's right into religion, and he can't
total missionary monk, you know, he's like totally there as like a kind of assassin, isn't he?
Yeah, for the greater good. Yeah, but it was another one of those ones. Is he awkward looking? Is he scary looking? Does Paul Bettany fit it? Oh yes, he does fit it, and he plays it quite well. But
very much the opposite to say his character in Knight's Tale, 100% a different thing altogether. As you said, it's one of his cold, calculated roles, which he has a fair few of.
I'd go with that. Yeah, I could see why you've said it. I can see why you've said it.
Yeah, and as I say, I don't hate the film at all. Like, it's just something that strikes me as, it got a lot of fanfare, but wasn't really that memorable in the end. So, Danica, you have a potentially controversial choice, but to be from talking and just from knowing you, if folk listen to what you have to say, it's not going to be that controversial by the end, because I know for a fact you like this movie, you just don't like the use of Paul Bettany in this movie. And to be honest, that's like this, like, worst Paul Bettany film, that can be a broad question. It can mean anything.
You are the most upset that anyone's going to be over what I'm about to say. I think you've already become the most upset and most wound up by this choice of anyone I know.
Especially when I agree.
My choice that upsets Peter so much is Avengers Infinity War.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I shall. So as you know, of course, Paul Bettany plays Vision, who, of course, has one of the Infinity Stones in his head, but not just that, is very much part of who he is. It's part of his makeup. And it was 2018. If you haven't seen it, tough, I'm going into it. And the main reasons I feel as though it is Paul Bettany's worst performance of anything I've seen him in is he's very underplayed considering how crucial he is to the plot of the movie.
Yep.
He is missing a lot out of his story arc. Is very spotty. When he was first introduced earlier on in Age of Ultron, he had a purpose and he was very robotic and very, I'm a newly created creature, what am I, who am I? Whereas this is jumped years on, and it's suddenly like, oh, actually, I'm really human. I've got a girlfriend now. Me and Wanda are in love, and we're running off to Edinburgh together. And it's like, whoa, what happened? Where was the build up to this? It means you don't feel particularly, what's the word? Like, you don't feel like you're really invested. You don't feel like you're rooting for him or for them as a couple. You just feel as though it's just happened for script's sake. And then suddenly he's getting whisked away because he's got this in his head, which should be a big part of the plot, but instead it's more he spends half the time strapped to a table while we're trying to separate it from him, which is completely waste of time, because when it comes down to it, they get him anyway. So all it's done is really wavered in the timeline instead of making him. I should have felt devastated when he died. I should have felt well and truly like this is the end. But when it comes down to it, by the time you watch the next movie, you don't remember he even existed anymore.
Yep.
When Wanda brings him back up at the very end of Endgame, you're like, why'd you care? Because we didn't see the relationship build in the slightest. And we didn't see his character becoming more human and more relatable.
Yep. I agree with Danica. I feel that he was underused. He was no more than a tool for Scarlet Witch's emotional character arc. True, right at the start, he's took out by one, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's took out straight away. And then he's just useless for the rest of the film, which is quite annoying. We didn't get any build-up of him. You know, I was quite interested when he appeared in Age of Ultron, because it was, you know, that quote, I was born yesterday. I was quite interested to see him learning and trying to grow. And it was just, oh, by the way, start this film, you're out. And he became like a fetch quest. The villains have to fetch his head. And it was, so underused. I never felt sorry for him either, because I don't think the relationship, which is key for the, Scarlet WandaVision, the relationship, I just don't think it's good enough. I don't think we get a good relationship.
I was more invested when he was just the disembodied voice in Iron Man's helmet. And especially in, was it Iron Man 3, when the suit dies on him and you're like, no! Whereas when him as a fully formed character of his own died, I was half of it has invested in the death scene.
Yeah. So come on, Peter, attack us.
Okay, so I'll sort of half agree and then I'll launch into why I disagree. So the reason I'll sort of half agree is because it's clear watching Infinity War that the Russo brothers have a completely different, per se, vision for what they want to do with Vision than Joss Whedon did. Like, if you watch Age of Ultron, Whedon clearly sees Vision as the one physical match for Thanos, but by the time you get to Infinity War, you just see that that's not how the Russos want to play it. And, like, that does kind of disappoint me, because, as we'll learn in a minute, I was a big fan of Age of Ultron. So knowing that wouldn't pay off exactly how it was set up is annoying to me. But the reason I'll disagree is because I do like Vision and Scarlet Witch as a couple. Like, I feel like the little tidbits of how fascinated she was with him in Ultron, and then just the little pre-relationship stuff in Civil War, I felt did build enough into Infinity War. And yeah, I'll admit, like, Vision is more there for service to Wanda's arc, but I feel like I have no problem with that, because Elizabeth Olsen has some fantastic moments in Infinity War and Endgame. And yeah, we'll get more into this when we spotlight Elizabeth Olsen in a few weeks, but I would say in the Marvel film she's in, watch what she's doing in the background, some of the facial expressions she's pulling, and it really gets to me sometimes. So
Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch is perfect. Right from the offset, any role, any scene she's in, she immediately grabs your attention because she's well and truly in it. And that's why I'm hoping WandaVision will fill in the blanks that I feel the story was missing for the two of them in Infinity War. But for me, Infinity War just doesn't have it. And as you said, good point. If he's meant to have been created to be this almighty weapon and their last hope, and then he gets his ass kicked by an alien in a later one, it's like, where did his power go? But as you said, it's down to directors, storytelling, and having a different role in the universe, especially when it's different threat, different team.
Yeah, and as I say, I do like Paul Bettany in Infinity War. He was underused, and it is a different arc, a different end to his arc. And maybe if we thought that his death in Infinity War was the last we were going to see of Vision, I might be more annoyed. But obviously, we're getting WandaVision now, and I'm enjoying that. So, and yeah, Infinity War, just so I can have my say on it, like Infinity War and Endgame, I think are going to stand up years from now as some of the best work Marvel ever did. Like the balancing act in those films, like if we go back to 2012, like I feel it's going to be hard for future generations to understand how groundbreaking the first Avengers film felt, with having 6 characters coming together, like let alone Infinity War and Endgame, which is about 50 major characters. And I feel like it's an amazing feat that the Russo brothers and everyone else involved in those films got those characters all going through their own stories to the same emotional pitch at the same time, and it just is a brilliant payoff to that universe. And to me, it's the like Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie, but Infinity War and Endgame is the best of the 3 Avengers stories for me so far.
Avengers 1, perfectly balanced, and I went with you to see it. But I don't want to go too far off into other Avengers stuff, or we'll be here all day since we've already covered the first section of the story. But I think we certainly will need to cover more in regards to the Avengers arc later on.
Well, we're about to cover something else to do with the Avengers arc, as you say, because we're going to go into underrated picks for Paul Bettany, and my underrated pick is, of course, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Well played.
Yes, and this is a movie. This is exactly, a lot of people were disappointed in this movie when it came out, but to me, this was exactly the second Avengers movie that I wanted. Like, at the time, I was reading a lot of Brian Michael Bendis's Avengers work, and that has really the same vibe, those comics, as this film, of like, just being about these people who are human and going through their own problems, but just happen to be superheroes as well. And to me, that was exactly what I wanted from the second Avengers film, because it really needs to sit as this quieter character piece in between 2 juggernauts of the original Avengers and then what happens in Infinity War and Endgame. And yeah, Vision in that movie, I was a bit skeptical of what they were going to do with Vision. As you say, and that ethereal kind of, oh, I'm this kind of emotionally neutral character, it could have gone either way, but Paul Bettany in particular, just the presence he brings really made that a character I wanted to follow for the rest of the MCU.
I think especially with us being accustomed to the voice of Jarvis, it meant that when Vision was solidly a character and you heard his voice, it was very reassuring, even though it was a new character. Certainly a risk, because he is very different from the other characters, you know, down to how he looks, what he is. Certainly a big risk. I do enjoy that movie. It's not my favourite Avengers movie, but I do enjoy it. And I know a lot of people that are maybe a bit more skeptical or say it wasn't as memorable as some of the others, but there's some fantastic fight scenes, and yeah, I don't think that would have worked as well if they hadn't got Paul Bettany on board.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, yeah, it's not my favourite one. I think I went to see it with my dad, and it was one of those films when we watched it, we both went, oh, it was good, but we didn't quite know why. There was something lacking in it. But to talk just about Paul Bettany, I like Paul Bettany when he was, his computer trying to stop Ultron, I've just named him there as well, from taking over, and it turns out he was the one that was trying to stop him, taking over the internet kind of thing. I did like when he became the the cyborg, or like whatever it was he was becoming. When he's at the window looking out, it was almost he's now self-aware that he is alive, in the sense that he can feel, or almost, he can control physical things now. I like the way Bettany played that. And my thing for that is Bettany, especially, it felt like he didn't want to kill off Ultron. especially spoiler alert. Really, if you have not seen this one, you don't deserve to see anything. At the very end, it was almost as if he didn't want to kill Ultron. He wanted to keep him alive because didn't want to become that human of committing genocide. I think that's what the whole thing of Ultron was about. That humans are destroying the planet and we're genociding things. And I think Vision didn't want to be that. I like the way Paul Bettany did it. But yeah, that's a good choice for underrated.
Yeah, and as I say, I will agree, it's the weakest of the 4 Avengers films, but that should in no way make it bad. Like, I really, really enjoy it. And as I say, for the reasons it's a bit different, a bit more quiet and character focused. Yeah, I mean, like it.
It's not the weakest Marvel film either. That's debated by Iron Man 2.
Yeah, that's down there. Thor 2's down there.
Iron Man 3 as well.
We can go through weakest Marvel movie at some point. Can I just rank all 23 and see how different we are?
Yeah, we can compare.
Yeah.
It would take too long to discuss every single one, but we could certainly compare our lists.
Yeah.
Show them for anyone that's interested, and then just discuss the similarities.
Or just snippets, 2-minute snippets on each movie, something like that.
An uninterrupted view on why we hate these films.
Yeah, because we're all just Snyder supporters who hate the MCU, right?
I'm all right, anyway, aye.
So, Danica, what's your pick for underrated Paul Bettany movie?
I can't hype this movie up enough. I absolutely love it. It's got everything I want in it. But very few people that I know of have ever heard of this film. I'm going for Inkheart. I don't think either of you have seen this one.
Nope. I have. I saw it in the cinema back in the day. It was almost like a repressed memory of like when you brought it up. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that being, okay. Yeah. That's a good choice.
Way back in 2008. You've got your protagonist played by Brendan Fraser, and it's overall about a man who has the magic ability that if he's reading something out of a book, it appears in the real world. And at first that seemed like a great idea until things go horribly, horribly wrong. So predominantly you've got Paul Bettany's character is called Dustfinger, which is a bit daft, but he's this mysterious, really attractive fire-eater. He's stuck in the real world and wants to get back into his own world because he's been read out of a book. But although he could be, a foe of the story, he's very much not. He is, when it comes down to it, a really caring guy. And he is just so fascinating. Sometimes at points in the movie it feels as though the film is completely about him. His story arc is so central to everything that's going on that he ends up assisting the main characters. When the main character's daughter is kidnapped, he tries to help get her back in exchange for getting read back into his own story. And he brings so much heart to the story. And he's got this pet ferret that he interacts with a lot, which is great because it kind of makes him more human and more relatable as well, because he is just kind of a wee bit of a thief, a wee bit of a kind of scoundrel, and can like create fire out of nothing. It's a very magical film, it's a very good family film, and it's just incredibly underrated, and it's definitely one of my favourite Paul Bettany performances. What do you remember of the movie?
It's more just little impressions, like, I remember Brendan Fraser and his daughter trying to get his wife back from a book she's trapped in, and it's not really events in the film I remember, it's more just a general feeling of, this is entertaining. So, I guess I can recommend it as well. Maybe I should watch it again, to be honest. Yeah. And Robert, you haven't seen it?
I've not seen it, no. But it's another one of those, like Dogville. I'll need to go and hunt it down and have a look. Get again.
Cool. So, Robert, your pick for underrated, we've actually mentioned already. It's something you had a bit of change of heart on.
Yeah, I was actually going to pick This Is My Worst Film, but I changed it, so it's Wimbledon. I think it's more. I mean, I got a 6.3 out of 10 on the rating scales in IMDb. So I mean, that's like an average film. Really, it's not a bad film, but it's not great. But it's okay. But it's like comedy, romance, and I hate rom-coms. I think they're dreadful. But this one was actually quite good. So it's Paul Bettany plays a pro tennis player who's lost his ambition in the sport because he's now ranked like 119th. I think the highest he ever got was like 11th. But everyone seems to forget. There's a running joke in it because everybody seems to go, "Oh, that's what's his name in it again? He is called Peter Colt." So everyone seems to go, "Oh, that's Peter Colt. He was ranked 17th." And then another woman goes, "Oh no, I'm sure he was ranked 18th." And he goes, "Rank 11." It's like he has to hold on to the fact that he was ranked 11th. So it becomes like a running joke. But he's became bored with competing. He's not doing well. He's not beat anyone who's ranked in about 2 or 3 years. So he now basically chucks it. He's going to retire and join a very exclusive tennis club as a coach. But this is where he meets Kirsten Dunst's character. She's like an up-and-coming tennis player. She's like the next big thing. She's qualified for Wimbledon. And it turns out Peter Colt actually gets handed a backdoor entrance, like a wild card entrance. So the tennis in it is okay. I mean, if you're a tennis fan, the actual tennis sequences through CGI are okay. I mean, Kirsten Dunst and Paul Bettany did good work at it. But it's not really the tennis that's good. What surprised me was that Paul Bettany and Kirsten Dunst were actually a very good partnership. Their relationship was very real in it. It wasn't overplayed Hollywood absolute naff. It didn't seem to have that. It was all real, and you actually feel like, I'm not a tennis fan, but as it went on, you weirdly get bought into Paul Bettany being the underdog, and you want him to do well. I will have one tip with it as well, but that you've got to know is Sam Neill's in it. And Sam Neill is actually playing Kirsten Dunst's father, who doesn't like Paul Bettany because, as far as he's concerned, she's got somewhere to go in the sport and she doesn't want to be held back by him. So you've got this weird kind of, they two are in love, but Sam Neill hates him because he thinks he's holding her back. But it ends up a relationship. They both need each other. He's driving her on and she's found him to rekindle his love for the sport and his love for himself. You'll be very interested to know that the agent's called Ron Roth in it, and that is actually played by John Favreau. Hope I've said his name right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those interesting stories. I mean, I think it is well known it's a Paul Bettany film, so I don't want to say it's not very heard of, like yourselves, for I think the film user pick are not very well known, apart from Age of Ultron. But I was shocked at this. I mean, I hate rom-coms, and yet I felt like this was actually really enjoyable. I mean, it's got a few tennis legends in it as well. John McEnroe? No? Yes? I think that's his name.
I think so.
I mean, the tennis sequences, it's not really about, it's weird. His film is called Wimbledon. The most interesting points in it is Paul Bettany and Kirsten Dunst's relationship. I mean, because there's a British star that could potentially win Wimbledon, and it's the audience is just, when really, let's be honest, they'd all be going after their head with Andy Murray on it. Everybody lost their minds. But yeah, I'm picking that film.
Well, hey, if we take anything away from today's episode, it's that we can all change our minds and discover something new about a film we thought we hated. So that's cool.
The fact Sam Neill's in it, you might have changed my mind. I might need to watch it now because of Sam Neill.
Yeah, I mean, it was in 2004 as well, so Kirsten Dunst, I think, was quite popular as well. But the relationship between them isn't overplayed. It's not, oh, I love you rubbish. It's quite fun. It's actually quite very good the way it's done. Yeah. I hate rom-coms.
So yeah, thanks for another fun discussion, guys. I feel like we've covered a good range of films here. And anyone who's watching at home, if you disagree with us, if you have something you just love or hate and you think, oh, I can't believe they didn't mention that, bring it up to us. Get a discussion going in the comments. And we will, of course, be back next week. And we are discussing something for next week. When we release next week's episode, we will be tying in with a particularly happy or unhappy day of the year. So we may well be tying into that with the kinds of movies we're discussing. You already know what we're talking about. So we will be back then, and of course, in a few weeks, we'll be back with our full WandaVision review and spotlight on Elizabeth Olsen. So, Danica, Robert, thank you for joining me again, and thank you for watching. Have a good week. So, first of all, WandaVision has started on Disney Plus. We are 3 episodes in, and someone is using the bathroom over there, so I'm going to stop talking so that the microphone doesn't pick it up.
This is very problematic today, isn't it? We didn't have one stop all last week. We've had like 3 already.
It's cool. We'll get into it. Okay, settle down now.
Where?
I think that more that it comes from. Sorry, later on.
Someone talking in there?
That's what I was saying. Aye. Start again.
Yeah, start at the beginning of your thought there.
Aye. I knew I'd text as well. Don't interrupt me.
Marvel are so world dominating at this point that they can afford to do something like this that's only really going to cater to the most hardcore fans.
Hail Marvel.
What
Hail
he said.
Marvel.
What he said. Yes, whatever. Try not to do a Nazi
Yeah.
salute as Robert
I
likes
stopped.
to introduce
I
to
did
these
that.
episodes.
Shalom. I'll just talk about Sean Bean.
Yep, Game of Thrones versus Lord of the Rings. All the Sean Bean
Ooh.
performances.
Everyone he dies in.
Can we do National Treasure? He didn't die in that,
Absolutely.
but I love that.
We do
We're
Death
going to
Race
have
2.
a Cage episode. We have to.
Right, I'm going to get this back on track.
Be here all night.
That's people. Have we gone to? Well, we've got one left. Okay, we've got one left.
Do this.
Yeah, I don't want to have to start splitting recording sessions into 2 episodes. That'd be good though. We'd have. That'd be good to have that much footage that we're that far in advance though.
Yeah.
Oh, you can always hold on to some footage and make extended versions if people are really interested in hearing what shite we talk about between proper takes.
I mean, when you do it about Keanu Reeves, I think you will just out of me. I've got so much shit.
Can I just point out at this point, I had to make less than 10 edits to the last episodes.
Oh, you've got so many, this one. And do you know what I love about it, Peter? It's not even my fault. Which I'm quite shocked at it.
Joint effort.
Okay, and we're composed. We are here. We are professionals. Talking. It's going to be bloopers to hell on this episode.
Oh, there is.
So, right, spotlighting now, guys, yeah?
Yeah.
So... No, hold on.
I'm trying to get ready.
That's beautiful, Robert.
I have,
Beautiful.
I have to invest in a green screen. I really do. What does I need for that, Peter? A makeshift one?
Yeah, you can. I think you can just drape a green cloth behind you and then
What
program.
about a green towel? No.
That might work. Try it. We'll let you know. No.
It's
Wrong
looking.
shade of
It's
green.
looking. It's looking. What if you like shift to the side, like if you're like sitting like this? He's following you around the room.
Keep that in. Keep that in. That's the.
Yeah, my plan was every time, I'm going to figure a way out, because my plan was when we do a spotlight, that's really weird, was to try and get that, to get the person in the background. I thought would have been quite good. My thing is now, how would I get rid of it? Oh, it's there. That was my original plan, is if I'm going to try and get like a green kind of thing to put up, and I'm going to try and give that a go. I think that's a good idea.
And that brings the point. It's Paul Bettany we're spotlighting this week.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You
Well,
love him. We love him. Robert truly loves him.
I'm probably going to move that to after the credits, to be honest. So
Yeah.
let's do another intro for Paul Bettany just now.
Your turn, Peter, to tell me why I'm wrong.
First of all, I literally cried when Wanda brought him up at the end of Endgame. But then again, I was already crying because of what had just happened. But can I just say I've literally developed cramp while we were talking? Like, I don't know if that's my body just going, I don't agree with this.
I think it is. I think you've cringed too hard and hurt yourself.
I actually thought you were trying to reenact his death in it. But,
the reason I'll half agree is because who's the organ music coming from? Is that you again, Robert?
Yep.
Sounds like Looney Tunes or something.
Right. Can you mute while I'm talking, actually, till it's done or what? Or I don't know. Cool. Thank you. Definitely.
Roberto, unmute yourself and tell us what you think of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I'll try and do this while there's not much going on in the background. Just stop me if you think you can hear anything. Yeah, Age of Ultron. Can you hear that music?
Yes.
It's okay.
Just a wee bit. Well, Peter said, what's that going on in the background? It's all right.
It can be your backing track. Just be emotive with the music.
Robert appears with organ music.
It does, like when it's at the level it is, it sounds like elevator music or something.
I could hear it, but I thought, usually we'll pick that up, and then it was your face, and you went, what's that in the background? I went, I'll mute myself. And Peter, you'll be quite interested to know this. His agent in it is called Ron Roth. His agent's actually played by Jon Favreau.
Oh, nice.
I'll start that again. Do you want me to start again? Yeah, stupid phone. You'll be quite interested as well, Peter, that his agent is Ron Roth, who's played by... We're quite interested to know, Peter, that his agent is called Ron Roth in it, who's played by Jon Favreau.
Oh, nice.
He was... What's happening here? Everything's going off its nut. I can't get a break here.
So, Danica, Robert, thank you for joining me again. And thank you for watching. Have a good week. We're done! We're done!
Finally. That was the longest one.